My name is Dunelo Motho. The murder of children in recent weeks South Africans. In the last the media has reported less than 5 cases of assault and killings. This being the body of a 7 found yesterday in a river near Diepsloot. Well, this comes after the and burial of the toddler area whose murder dominated last week. And before we get further into this issue, let's take a look at the following.
Few weeks, South Africa has witnessed events of child murders. The rape and killing of 2-year-old Lisa Mali and her 3 cousin Zandile Mali in Diepsloot. Their bodies were found in a communal toilet, later discovered in a suspect's house. Condoms. In another incident, a Katlehong was taken in for questioning by the police. Allegedly poisoned and killed her 2 children were found dead in an old house where the mother was alive. It's alleged that she poisoned the children, but she survived the poison. A study by the South African Medical Research that at least 3 children a day are in South Africa nearly are due to child abuse, and 16% of all child homicide due to abandonment within the 45% murdered by their own mothers. 5% of the children are murdered. Police and child rights organizations advise to be vigilant and to where their kids are. But what over half of child murders are parents. As things stand, caring enough to protect children.
Participate in our poll this evening. Is our society a safe and conducive place for our yes or no, including your views to 3465, or alternatively, you can go to the page which is Sunday Live on SABC at Sunday Live SABC1 with the hashtag say. All right, now moving on in the program later on, joined by a former convict who is but joining us right now in studio, Naidu, who is from the Save the Children research psychologist, Sherry Ann.
Thank you.
I'll start off with a research psychologist, and you conduct basis. What do statistics say about child killings? I heard in the insert that it's usually, perpetrated or just someone close to the family.
We have this kind of cultural myth that there are perpetrators that are strangers lurking in dark corners where they snatch up our children. But the truth is, committed by someone that the children know, either a parent member or a teacher or a neighbor. The children are often either in a with the person, and so they trust them. They are the access, their closeness to that person, and so what's people try and protect strangers, but the real people are often dangerous, are actually very close to the children
that are dangerous, and the characteristics of the that sort of are found in people who kill children or assault children. What are some of those?
It's really complicated in South Africa to just individual variables, where you might say, well, this is an anti or this is someone who has psychopathic tendencies. They're competing variables. They're socioeconomic. We have an environment that is characterized by that is taught to our young. I don't think that the children can remain outside of those. Our entire culture is dictated of life. Yeah.
And Divya, you come from social work background within the. Why do you think it is so that we have a statistic or a high rate of mothers or perpetrators?
I think the sad, we find a situation where there's a very high level of stress is a contributing factor. So you find that are in situations where they largely own, coupled with the other factors that they have to see to and provide for their children. Stressful. Are becoming parents when they're quite young sometimes. So as a result, sure enough to be able to deal with the realities of raising a child, because they not cope with that. So find mothers feeling overwhelmed, stressed out.
When a mother takes a decision to poison, to put their baby bag, an infant, a 7-day-old bag, and leave the infant to float dead, what trauma does that experience bring to the community?
It is extremely traumatizing for I think also it also be traumatizing for the mother. It is not a human being to make that kind of decision. Taking a life, adult, is not something that you and I would just be able to do. It's very difficult, very much more traumatizing for a community, especially when it's an innocent child that and that life has been. He's starting to ask the question, where is wrong, and what are we doing as raising children, that kind of adults that can actually make choices. I think that's what we need to ask a lot more.
And just speaking about community, we've seen in the reports lately, the two toddlers, Yonelisa and Deep Salute, we saw how outraged media, how people were willing to climb on shack and break it down and disband the whole shack. The alleged suspect, natural reaction that a community can make.
It speaks directly to the culture of violence I just referred to. Being in South Africa, that's how we respond, and we respond immediately with violence. This is how South Africa has learned. There is probably a foundation. There's a legacy. There is a lot of anger. There is a huge relative deprivation, poverty. We have a community that is defined, has not. And I think there's so many and we can't say it's this one reason. A situation like this, I think there, and we'd have to look at it from various modes, using various disciplines and various nations coming together.
Divya?
Yeah. I agree with one of the other things that Save the Children is violence within the home, and that's where we believe it's very much within the home. In South Africa, for instance, we have not banned corporal punishment in the home. Parents use that as a form of, and they believe truly that that's. So children start to get raised right from the little into believing that this reality, and the reality is, yes, will get results immediately, but what's the limitations? And that's the questions we need to ask. And that's where we see the gap, because it's start to believe if you're bigger and stronger than somebody else, it's okay that way. And so when they grow up and than somebody else, they use that, but it's escalated to the level.
She's reacting to the toddler's murder. Give you some of the comments and from our Facebook page. Laki Mujaki has said, children are people we know. Toby has said that we should protect our children because they tomorrow, and today we need and guide them and not kill them. This is extremely sad. All right. Now, when we come back from the ad break, a former convict activist joins us to give a glimpse into the mindset. Stay with us.
Luxe Fine Fragrance. Luxe. With World Luxe Soft Caress Beauty Bar. Just a little Luxe.
I need a little man. You always know where to go. That's why I need a little man.
With rice that's but fluffy and white, it's not surprising that everyone expects more. After all, it's not just any.
Ja, ne? Wanna be a hole-in-one. Hey, boss. Shh. I'm renewing my... As you know, it'll take me... I'll be in tomorrow. He doesn't know that you can... a license at the post office. Personal vehicle license or company fleet at the post office. Branch near you.
You need to remember that I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I've always loved the energy in Joburg. I love the Kwaito movement. They were the first guys that made it cool to be daring. My ticket to making, and that was the best. You can't prove people wrong. You don't have permission to break boundaries. You can just take it. You gotta be different. Be yourself. I'm killing it, and I'll kill it more. Like I want.
So don't judge me. Please believe in me. Show me but I know send a put a stain. Believe you can be what you wanna be.
Fuga when I clever, it's time to clean your... Can reconnect and be the best. No. Tuesdays only on SABC 1. For sure.
Welcome back. This is the Current Affairs Show, proudly by SABC News. As the dialogue around child killing, participate in our poll question: is our a conducive place for children? Yes or no to the number. For right now, joining us in studio, of course, Dive and Sherry, and of course, Job, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, ma'am.
You are a former convict and now a reformed.
Yes.
Could you just kindly tell us about the crimes that
Ma'am, one robbery, which I did back then, and within that robbery there was then I was sent. Yeah, those were the crimes that I committed.
Yeah, and to understand what is the mindset, because trying to get out of the conversation, you help us identify communities. How can you help us identify somebody who to be a danger in our society, and what you to commit such crimes?
Let me start by what led me to crimes. I'll say to you, in an environment that is not congested, being whereby you grow up without having anger that boils in you, you end up having a low self-esteem, pushes you. You want to be known, you want to, and you don't know how to release. You end up doing things that you also regret. But above all and over, the manner and the way in when you grow up and people who are doing wrong things, such things, things that pushed me to do some of them. Above them all, it's a low one. You can't go a girlfriend, maybe you want to propose a thing, because I don't have such thing. I do. Remember, whenever you come across that woman, she's now become, or here she is alone. Yeah, that's...
Yeah, so those are some characters. I mean, you are a research psychologist, and are these the characteristics that we find that John is telling us about?
I think absolutely, particularly in the South African context, where resources, the inability to just provide basic for the people, those things like Job is talking about, low self-esteem, not being able to overcome absent parent. We just don't have the mechanisms to support children who lack those. And so definitely I think that it does develop individual traits to gear someone towards committing a violent crime.
Divya, I mean, how do young women, not just children, and parents protect their young children from violence in our society?
I think they find it difficult to actually protect them. Our programs look at how we can teach them to do that. Also do very extensive work working with children. They have a program which we call Safer School, where we target girls, young girls, and through the programs at schools we help in terms of understanding what children's rights are, understanding where they can go for help, whom they could talk to, at how we can teach children as well. I think parents have a very difficult time and with the struggles that they're having. But I think it's very number of community organizations that work very much at ground with women in the communities, looking at programs to teach their children and to protect them in their homes and outside.
And Job, just speaking in the society in identifying, I mean, as you were a perpetrator at some point. How do you assist the community at large in identifying a potential threat to children?
That is easy. By saying, in our community, we here. If it could be something that you'd see that it's happening, someone has whatever, it's not easy for them to pinpoint, to identify a person who's going to do something bad. They can tell. I mean, their
can they
eyes...
really tell? I mean, some of these friends, trusted family members, parents, mothers, can you really tell? Because sometimes we trust and we even forget about the of not trusting them at all.
It's true. We do have within that trust. We don't throw up to say stop. We give it too permissive in terms of our children, relatives, the family, friends. We're too permissive. But for you to identify him, one, as my sister, once I start saying, your child, she's growing up, and it says something to you. Look at the person, boundary, and their eyes. Even if they talk to you, it's not going to be easy looking, always be pimping at the child. It's easy to identify them. There's anger. Not good. Within the family, within neighboring.
And I understand a community activist. I mean, how are you in society?
What has happened, it's when I come out of the way guys, organization called Mo Africa Itlokomele. It's an organization, or let me say the agenda under Sonke Gender Justice. For me to be there was a job. Want you fail. Look at you now. And then I decided that, you know what, Plowback, I have to go school by school, experience, tell them what is. I'm here because I'm like this because of what I. And as well, we're trying our level whereby we mentor men. Much as I'm talking now, I'm a men's forum in Pinville, where we uplift men to say, we are that men that we're looking for. Why can't we stand and raise our issues? Let us not harboring issues, because issues, when they come out, it's a bomb to you. So that's what we are to them. This is what I say to you. For me, it was never one. Remember when you come out of doing what you did, how to people, and
it counts a lot.
You have the courage now.
Absolutely. And just running out of time, do you have any message from everyone?
Yeah, my message will be simple for everyone. I think everybody. One would be, love yourself before you can love anybody else, which is next to you. Because.
All right. Thank you so much, Job Vingwane, for joining us and telling us about your experiences. Thank you so much for joining us right here on Sunday Live. Vingwane, who is, of course, a now reformed community activist. Now, how does society keep their community and protect their children from child killings? Well, the SABC and Save the Children organization forward. Feel free to also on our Facebook page, and you can also tweet right after the ad break.
It's been a long, hard year, but it's been it because Carling Black you guaranteed rewards. Buy Black Label and enter the Label Rewards Program. 120*660 followed by the hash key and collect. You can redeem for cash and airtime. Carling Black Label.
Boy, as it's in feeling for me and I'm a pepe. Real deal pizza, and for my girl, the bacon and chicken.
Got even harder with the new Real Deal pizzas for only Debonair's Pizza. Everybody tag in.
These cops, they know every drug is. They don't have any evidence to present. They decide to take matters into their own hands and enforce it. Hooking and jabbing. Howes pulls down his mask, pistol on his hip. 2 seconds after that, he back. Man, bam.
If this is the truth, why would they want to kill?
What's in a crossfire? Only on your entertainment. SABC 1. For sure.
DJ friends like these.
From the ad break, this is Sunday Live of discussing child killing society and whether or not it's safe and conducive for our children. SMS your views to 340 yes or no, or alternatively go to the page, which is Sunday Live on S. Tweet us at Sunday Live C1. All right, we're now joined by Brigadier Linda, American Police Services. Welcome to Sunday Live. First of all, I'm going to open a question to you would be with an SMS from one of our viewers who said that, cases like these do not because they do not act effectively the community. What to that comment?
We have that the police alone will solve the problems. Somewhere, someone is. So for us as to be successful in the investigation, we need information from the same community. The crime has been committed.
And if South African Police Services, I'm sure wants to know, because I understand there's a satellite set up there, that there's not even much patrolling in the neighborhood. There's not much police activity in the neighborhood. The police, children, if I could call it that, doing with in Diepsloot then, if there isn't a neighborhood?
That is covering the area of Diepsloot, doing investigations on crime. What is important here, when we talk prevention, to look at the law enforcement agencies only. We need to look. Safety speaks on different kind of things. It's partnership. It's the environment. It's the community themselves. The tradition of saying the child is.
But then, Sherry, and you mentioned, actually we're having a conversation during the ad break, on people who don't feel comfortable in cases to the police. Why is that?
You know, they're very, the person committing the crime is a family member, and the child is either too young or doesn't want to report a mother, or just doesn't have the resources or capacities to do so. Cases of a child who is abused by a relative, but it never comes out. What starts to happen is even those report it to the system, if it does go through, but if it's a mother and we're much access to children and having the capacity violent, often the system dismiss it, the justice system it's just that a woman might behave in a violent manner.
And then with, say, the children, I mean, how as an organization do you lobby and encourage them and educate them on crimes?
We do extensive work around looking at, mentioned earlier, around violence with as a starting point, around looking at. So one of the issues we focus on is lobbying for change so that we can get corporal punishment banned in the home. It starts off in small ways, and then that when one slap doesn't work, a bit more serious, to the becomes very, very violent, and to the extent are being killed. But also within things, we do extensive work. We've got as well as our own programs working directly with children. In KwaZulu-Natal, we have a program with early teachers where we're working with teachers, training them so that they're skilled also in terms of the work, so that children are provided with proper, at least while parents are going home during the day. As the Brigadier said, it's not about what the police have to do. It's a parental responsibility. And if we don't have environments for children and children left to walk around on their own, children, you're exposing them to situations.
Okay, and just going back to with regards to the communities, I mean, we've seen how outrageous and how they were take matters and the law into their own hands, especially with toddlers in Diepsloot. Sure that after such a traumatic experience has endured, I mean, we've also of the toddlers, how very emotional. Make sure that you go back as a and you guarantee the safety.
There is a plan in Biz for a place of where all the government departments will be coming together and to do the awareness and also to do the counseling and also to give information. And that we partner with the community so that they must know that we as we cannot be able to, but we need partner with, able to know if they have any such report the cases.
All right, thank you so much, Brigadier Linda, for in police services. Thank you so much, Sherry, and psychologist, and Divya Naidu, Children, South Africa. Thank you so much for joining. And of course, I'd like to extend my gratitude to Vingwane for joining us today, just to as a former convict and now community activist. And thank you so much. Before I leave, I want to just, we asked you whether or not you think our society is a safe and conducive place for children. Well, 100% said no and 0% said yes. So that reflects on how the community feel. Well, unfortunately, for you this evening. Join us again next time, same place, right here on SABC. Thank you for watching and good night.
Tomorrow on 1.